Hi everyone, Mr. Brand here again. I have kind of a bonus project that I will be updating every month. It came across when we couldn't really use like some extra drawing things after students got done. And I got to thinking what could help us as artists and become better in our drawing, using our creative mind, using our imagination. So Mr. Brandt came up with a thing that I like to call details, details, details. And you'll see why I call it that here in a little bit. But basically, it talks about observation, meaning as an artist, how well can you see something, process it in your brain, and have your brain tell your hand what to draw. And that's by breaking down things into shapes, shapes and lines to draw what you see. And then also using your imagination and being creative in the same artwork. And so each month I'm going to update with a new sheet, and I'll explain what that is here in just a minute. So this is details, details, details. When you go and look, I will have a form like you see on the screen, and it's going to have 8 images. Okay, usually 4 of them has to do with that month a little bit, and then 4 are just random things that I choose. And what you're going to do is you're going to draw 4 of the 8, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. But you'll start by picking one thing, and I want you to break it down. So if I look at this cute candy corn, I would break it down and say, well, the outside edge looks kind of like a rounded triangle. There's a circle with a smaller circle. There's a curved line and it's kind of to the side. There's a little tongue. There's a couple lines going through the eyes and a line up here and even a little shadow line at the top and bottom corner. I want to draw exactly what I see. Then you're going to draw on your paper a creative background. So let me show you just a quick example of what I'm talking about and we'll get started. So here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to take a paper, your normal size paper, and you're going to fold it once like a card, and then you're going to fold it a second time like a card. A lot of people call it the hamburger way, whatever works for you. We're going to then open it up, and you will have 4 small rectangles. And I know it's kind of hard to see. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and draw a line there, and then I'm going to draw a line here so that you can see we have 4 nice rectangles for our drawing. And what you're going to do is if you look over at the sheet, you're going to pick one of the objects and you're going to draw it. So I'm going to take in here, and this is the observation part. You're going to look, and I'm looking at the candy corn, and I'm just going, some people like to start with the eyes. Some people like to start, and I can see my pencil's breaking a little bit, so let me grab a different pencil. Here we go. Now, I look at it and I say, okay, there are 2 nice circles, and if you look, the circles are touching, and so I want those circles to touch. And then if you look inside, the little circle is closer to the middle. So as an artist, you want to observe these things and see what you're trying to draw. And as we talked about, the smile is kind of off to the side. So it kind of curves like this, and then there's a little tongue that comes out right in there. And then we have the line that comes through, and then there's another line right here. And I'm breaking this down into lines and shapes so that I can draw what I see. And then I said there's a little shadow that comes here, and there's a little shadow there. Now, I've drawn all the details. I would go back and check it, make sure I got all the details that are in the observation part, okay? Then it's time to do the imagination part. So in your imagination, how can you draw this? What can you put in the background? And this is where details, details, details comes in, because my minimum is you have to have at least 10 details. And it can be realistic, it can be abstract, it can be totally off the wall if you want. But let me show you what I mean. So I might say, okay, I'm going to go in and add a ground. That would be one detail. And then I might say, you know what, this is for Halloween kind of, so I'm going to do a moon. There's my second detail. I might do some clouds. Now, if you do a set of clouds, they don't count as 3 details, they count as 1. So now I've got 3 total details that I have in there. And don't think of it as, well, I'm trying to get as many as I can, but what makes your picture look nice? And I always say that I need a minimum of 10. But I can do something totally abstract too. I could say, well, in the background, instead of a mountain, I'm going to do an ice cream cone with maybe a cherry on top as a mountain. Doesn't have to be realistic. You can use your imagination. And I'm going to fill in with different details. Now, if I wanted to, I could draw this and say, well, in the background, I'm not going to do realistic things. I'm just going to go in and draw shapes and designs and put color, maybe a free-form shape, things like that. You could go in and say, well, I want to add, and I'll just show you here. Here's one where maybe the pumpkin. I added shapes and designs just to create my details. Or maybe I like the candy corn. I said, well, how are candy corns? Well, they're always with a group, like in a bag or in a bowl. So I might go into my 10 details, might be friends of the candy corn that I drew from the sheet, okay? Once you draw with your 10 details, then you go to the next one and you pick one object off that sheet. Maybe I do the pumpkin, and then I go down and draw 10 details. Then I do the bat, draw 10 details. Then maybe I decide I want to do the house and draw 10 details. When you get done with that, then you go back and you start putting in color. So you could take the object and outline it and color it. And here's what I'm talking about on that. So you can kind of see, I went back, and what I'm trying to do is I went and I'm outlining now my objects. I did the house going off the page, which is perfectly fine. I still used from that sheet over there. I did the house, and you're adding things. I want you to be creative on it, really stretch your imagination on what you can do and how you can draw the backgrounds. One thing I didn't like about this one that I did was I was using these as examples, but I kept drawing the same kind of background, and that kind of, I saw that, and so that's why I went to doing some other things with the shapes and with abstract stuff out there, or doing like I told you here where I added like some friends and doing that kind of stuff. Totally up to you. But you're going to do the 4 objects that you choose. Once you get them in and all the details drawn, you can go back and outline and color and do whatever you want. Each month I'm going to have a new sheet, and if you click on the little image to the left of this video, it'll take you to a page where you can see the whole picture, and I want you to try doing some of these objects by observation, and then after that, your imagination. And I hope you have fun doing these. Each month I'll add a new one to this, and I want you to just try it for fun, okay? Have fun with it. Remember, Mr. Rand says art is essential, and have an outstanding day.